Hey there, thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on this adorable CC Designs image called Monkey Zoo. Isn't he cute? Love him. And I put a little shaker card in there, so we're going to put the whole card together at the end. So that's super cute. So we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to get here, and we'll have a short commercial. So next week we are going to do this Polka Doodles image, and she's called Reindeer Onesie. I put a link to her down in the description box if you want to head over and pick her up and then print her out and get her ready. And they do have on Tuesdays, if you sign up for their newsletter, they send out a coupon, so they give you a discount. So if you want to wait till next Tuesday and grab her at the discounted price, you can do that. But there is a link down in the description box if you want to grab her for next week's lesson in coloring. Also, Christmas card kits. So we only have 3 left. So we have Lace Hood Tilda, and she was from last year. She's currently half off. So if you want to grab her, she's $21 over in the store. And then I have 3 of this cute Joseph Luca Christmas cards left, the Christmas card kits. And then this one wasn't a Christmas card kit, but she could be a Christmas card kit because it says Happy Winter. You could put Happy Winter, or you could put Christmas down here, or whatever you want. And this is called Lucy with a Scarf, and there are 4 of these left. So if you want to grab that over in the store, this is your options now. All the others have sold out. So if you want to grab a Christmas card kit, make sure to head over to the store and get one of those before they're all gone. So I have already stamped my image on Neenah 80-pound solar white cardstock. So let's do some coloring. And this guy shouldn't take too much today. He looks like he's pretty easy. He doesn't too much going on. I think the hardest part was putting the sticky foam tape on the image, or on the acetate piece, so that I could put the shaker part together. Okay, so we're going to start. We don't have to outline him because we are actually going to cut him out. So let's see here. What are we going to need? We're going to need 39, 17, 15, 13, and 30. So we are going to need these. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining me. So that's what we're going to use today for our little monkeys. Our little monkeys. So I'm going to start with, let me make sure I'm in the screen there, E39. And like I said, it's not going to take us too long to do, to color him up. He's pretty cute, pretty simple. But shaker cards have been pretty popular this week, so I thought I would throw in a birthday shaker card for you. And we'll do E17. I'm going to go ahead and fill in down here on his body because that's underneath all that of his head and everything, so you're not going to see too much of that. And then we'll fill in his hands with E15. I'm going to go ahead and go back with our E39. Hi, Art DeCat, Maria, and Linda. Thank you for joining me. Brazil, that's a long ways off. What time is it there? It's noon here. Okay, so we're going to go with our E39. And let's do a little dab here where his ear is going behind that little puff of hair. And then I'm going to do this little hair right here. I'm going to kind of pull my pen away from these little pointy dotty, or his hair where it's kind of streaky, because I don't want it to be too thick. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to do a little dab right next to where that hair is poking out. And then over here, I'm going to touch down on these points of his hair and then pull into the bigger area. For me, that tends to work a little bit better. It makes it not quite so thick. Let's bring this up just a little bit more. I'm going to kind of go along this little arch. All right, so then we're going to go with 1800 hours, so 8 o'clock tonight. Oh, good job. So it's probably dark there. We actually have sun today. We've had rain the last few days, and the temperature dropped. I know it didn't seem like it was much dropping, but it felt like you'd think it was 20 degrees or 30 degrees cooler than it was the day before. I had to put on my 2 shirts and a sweater. Okay, then we're going to fill in up here underneath of his hat. And then I'm going to bring this color down along his ear and kind of fade it off into the edge. And then I also want to do this little streak in his ear. So same over here, we're going to go along this where we've already colored, and then we're going to bring it around the corner of his ear and then kind of fade it off into a point there next to his ear. I'm also going to use this color to start the inside of his face. I'm going to make that a little point, because since it's got a point right here. And then we're going to go all the way around the outside or the inside of his face and get some color going there on the inside. Hi, Maria. All right. So now we're going to go with E13. Summer Clock. Oh, that's nice. Sometimes I wish I could just move to where it's summer all the time. Okay, so for this, we're going to bring this down here along the edge of his ear. All right, and then for our little circle around the inside of his face, I'm going to go ahead and touch down on top of the E15. Sorry, I forgot what color it was. E15, and then I'm going to pull it into the middle of his face. So I'm kind of doing like a little check mark. I got a little bit of a line there, so I'm going to give it another couple of little flicks. But we can always come back again. Now I'm going to add E30. I'm going to do the whole inside of his ear. And I'm going to come back again with some more color in there, so I'm not worried that it doesn't look all blended. Okay, so we're going to grab our E15 for a second coat. Okay, I was checking my chat there, sorry. Okay, so we're going to go around like this. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down just a little bit here. I think I'm going to darken it up here on his little arch. And then we'll soften all that with our E13. This time I'm going to go in a little bit further. So I'm going to swipe right past the last E13 that I laid down. And then we'll add some E30. I'm going to go with another coat, so my third coat of E13, because I'm still not liking how that's all blending out. And I'm going to pull it a little bit further. And then we'll go with our third coat of our E30. And this time I'm going to wipe from the edge of his face and bring it towards this little white spot in the middle. Now I'm going to go all the way across. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining me. All right, so there's our little monkey. So I told you it wouldn't take very long. Hi, Art DeCat. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to go. See, I told you he wasn't going to take very long. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the ribbon next because red is my worst enemy. So I'm going to keep that for last. So you could also do, we're going to use Y26, 18, and 15 for our ribbon and our hat. You could also do, since I use primary colors, you could do the package in blue or green or purple, and it would all go with the colors that I use for the paper. So you can completely change it. All right, so we're gonna go with our Y26, and since his head's tipped this way, I'm gonna make the shadow be on this side of his hat. So I'm going to just set my pin on this side and I'm just going to flick away from this edge. Hopefully I'm not going to go outside of the line, but you know, things happen. Okay, but I want it to be wider down here at the bottom. So now that I've got this nice little line already, I'm going to go ahead and flick away and kind of make it come up so that it gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier towards the top. So you got it kind of going at a little angle there. My reds, if I get the paper too saturated, then the red will bleed. But I try to, when I'm coloring, my pen barely touches this paper. So it's just kind of like skimming over the top of it so that it's just sucking up a little bit of ink. Because the minute your pen touches that paper, like if I was to set it down here and then drag it across and hold it there, it's going to take way more ink than what I usually do is just kind of flick it across the top, kind of skim it over the top, kind of like you're skipping rocks, if you've ever skipped rocks. How those kind of float across the top of the water. Okay, so I went that way just so I wouldn't go out of the lines, but now I'm going to go over here like this and pull this all the way across. Now instead of skimming, when I do the get to the lightest coat, I let it set for just a little bit longer. So, you know, a fraction of a second more than it did the first time. And then it makes it take up a little bit more ink. All right, so then we're going to go down here and we are going to, I need to clean this one. Look at that, that's gross. I have to get on that. And then, because I don't think I've changed, oh, I changed the end of this one. It's just gross again. It's good. It's a good idea to do Copic maintenance. You know, when you see your pens getting like this, because this stuff gets stuck in the lid, and then when you pull the lid apart, it gets on the end of your tip down here and gets it all gunky. So if you ever see that happening, it's time to clean it. Okay, so for our little monkey dude here, let's go with a little bit away from his finger or his hand. And then I'm going to shadow this side of the ribbon. And then for this one, same thing. Since his box is leaning, or the lid's leaning here, I'm going to go ahead and shadow this side. And then bring it down. But I'm going to bring it along the bottom of the package just a little bit too. And then we're just going to touch down on top of that last color. And then we'll fill it in with our Y15. You could also do, if you wanted to get these, darken them up, you could give it a second coat and it would make your ribbons a little bit darker. Or you could do your package, you could paint your package, color it blue, and then make the ribbons red. All right, let's do the little bows over here on the package. So since I have him leaning this way, I'm going to say this is where we're going to have more shadows down here towards the bottom. And then same for this bottom one. And then for the ribbon, let's do some going away from the edge of the bow. And this is the back side of the bow, so I'm going to cover that up and kind of swing it around the top of this little loop right here. And then over here we got underneath, and then it's swinging back up in here into the light. And this one's more on the top, so I'm not going to put so much up there. But down here, this is going to be underneath. And then it's going to swing around here on this bump and come back up into the light. Let's see, let's do, I think I'm going to do right here, and then I'm going to come down and along the edge of this side. Okay, and then we're going to do Y18. Yeah, using the gentle movements or just very skimming the paper makes a huge difference. It's like if you notice when you color, the minute your pen touches that paper, it starts sucking that ink up like crazy. So if you're just barely skimming that paper, then it's not taking up quite so much ink. You can always go back and add multiple coats. That works for me anyway. That's why I always color dark to light. A lot of people color the other way. They color the light to the darkest. And for me, I would just put down too much. It was just too much ink, and it would just bleed outside of my paper lines. It would just go everywhere, or the paper would get too saturated and it couldn't hold anymore. So it just works easier for me to go the opposite direction. That was easy, right? All right, that leaves us with the red. See, I told you this one wasn't going to take very long today. He is pretty quick and simple. Whoops, got to move these around. So we're going to do our 27, 17, 5, and then 14. Let's start up here at his little pom-pom with R27. So I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to give it a little swipe at the center of each of these little pom-poms. I'm going to go down the bottom of both of these. And then we'll add a little tiny bit of R17. And then R05. And then we'll fill in this top one with our 14. And even though I did these, I'm going to go over them again just to swoosh all those colors together. Okay, now we're going to go with R27 again. So let's do our package here. So I'm going to go along the edge. And then I want to go next to this ribbon because it's going to cause it to have a little bit of a shadow there. Same for this side, so let's go right along the edge of this ribbon. And down. And along this bottom. Hopefully I'm gonna try not to go out of the lines. And then we'll go along this side of the ribbon. And this package is leaning on it, so it's gonna cause it to have a shadow. So I'm gonna go right next to that. But now that I have a jumping off point, I'm going to take my pen. Let's go ahead and connect this to his foot. We're going to go ahead and take our pen and we're just going to brush away from that line to extend our shadow out a little bit. This way I don't have to worry about going outside of the lines as much because I have a place to set my pen down and then flick away from. Even though I still do go out of the line. And here he's got his little foot up here, so let's go ahead and do, and his face is kind of leaning on the box, so let's give that a little bit, and then come around the side of his foot a little bit. Hi Flower, thanks for joining us. Okay, then we're going to add R17, so we just want to flick away from the colors we already have down. And I'm not going too much further past, just enough to soften that edge a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this shadow around the rest of his foot. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing. Let's flick away from this edge. Oops, I forgot this little bitty corner right here. I'm going to take R27 and fill that in. Before I forget about it. And then we better add a little bit up here to this corner. And then we'll go with R05. Let's fill this one in. And then again, we just want to flick away from these edges. And then when I get down here, I still put down on my R27, and then I flick past both of those colors into my white space. And again, my pen's barely touching that paper. It's just skimming over the top. And then we'll finish it up with our R14. So let's go. And again, I'm going to start from R27, and I'm going to pull it out here. And this just helps me to blend all these colors that are back here in the back together. Okay, so I've got that white space still. So I'm going to come back again, and I'm going to start back here. And then I'm going to pull past all of that. And same for this side. Let's go up here, and we'll pull past this. And now I still got this little bitty streaky space here in the middle, so I'm going to kind of go where, what was it? R05 kind of started. And flick kind of over, lightly over this little middle section. For me, prone to bleeding, anything, reds are my worst. I always leave those for the last, and it's not always like these colors I picked today are okay. But sometimes I'll color them, and I don't know about you guys, but my paper will get like a shiny patch, and it doesn't seem like it's dry. So if you touched it with your hand, you would pick some up on your finger. And I've tried, you know, replacing the pen. I've refilled them. I've cleaned them. They just, like R29, it does it all the time. I don't know if it's just because it's just so dark that it just causes the paper to get that shiny stuff on it. But it doesn't seem like it dries instantly. So I have to wait. That's why I always do the reds last. And also any really dark colors. So, you know, the G's, the really high G's, like G, I think it's G99. If they're really, really dark, all the 9 nines seem to be, or anything that ends in 9 seems to be the worst. But you just have to remember that, you know, light flicking on your paper, don't get it too saturated. If you think it's getting too full, stop coloring and let it dry. Let the paper dry. See, let's flip it over. See, like here, I've on my red here, it's got some shadowing on the back of the paper, but I did not saturate that red on there as much as I did this brown for his face. Like, I think this was mostly the E30 when I put it on, because I wiped over his face a few times, that caused it to saturate that paper and come to the back. But the red, you can barely see it, so I can put a lot more on here before the paper is full and it pushes it outside of the line. If that makes any kind of sense. I know they say you're supposed to saturate the paper and you're supposed to be able to see it on the back. But for me, that just doesn't work for me. The paper gets too wet and then it just floats outside of the lines. So for me, it works best if I have less ink on the back. I can hardly see it. Yes, you occasionally can. It bleeds through the back and, you know, but mostly there's not much on the back. Okay, so then we're going to go with R05. I'm going to go ahead and fill in this little section right here. And then we'll do the same thing. We're just going to come up from our R27 and pull up into our white. And then we'll fill this little section in with our R14. Okay, so even though I filled that in because I didn't want to go outside the lines, I'm still going to pull all the way across. So this last color will kind of blend all those colors together. But again, I'm barely touching that paper. It's just skimming across the top of that paper and mushing all those colors together. But you got that, and then here, let's flip it over. So on the back, see, I got a little bit more carried away with my red down here in the corner. So you've got a little patch of, lift it up a little bit, make it see it better. A little bitty patch of red where it's bleeding through right there. But it can still hold more ink because there's still a whole big patch of paper there between the lines that it can fill in. Up here on this little face up here, it's not going to take very much more because it's pretty saturated. But now that I've let it dry, I could go back in and add some more ink onto that. So something to keep in mind when, you know, you're coloring, flicking light strokes, barely touching the paper, stuff like that. Okay, so now I'm going to, because that's all the coloring for our little guy today. I know, wasn't he quick? So we're going to do I'm going to do a clear Wink of Stella brush pen, and I'm just going to add that to my hat. And I love this pen. If you girls don't have this, you definitely should get one. Although don't get crazy with the whole, to get the stuff out, you push it here and then it flows down into this cap and then it kind of pools down here. But if you get a little crazy pushing it, it will make a big flood onto your paper. I've done that. So I'll put some on and then I let it dry for a couple of seconds and then I come back and I add some more. And let's put some down here on our package. I'm going to do the yellow parts. Okay, but I want it to be really sparkly, so I'm going to come back. And I'm going to add a second coat. Well, his hat, that's like the third or fourth coat. I just keep piling it on until it's as sparkly as I would like it. And I love this because it dries almost instantly, unlike my stickles that takes, you know, forever. It seems like it's more like, I guess it's probably like 10 minutes, but I'm always in a rush. Okay, then we're going to do, what do I do with it? Oh, here it is. I'm going to do my Sharpie white paint pen, and I'm going to shake this with the lid on, so I'm going to shake it over here. Okay, so you shake it with the lid on, and then I usually, I'll take the cap off, and then I test it on a piece of paper, because I don't want it to like blob everywhere. Because I've done that and it does not come off, it's paint. So you want to make sure that it's making little dots, not huge blobs. And then I'm going to put some white up here on my little tassel. And let's do some dots on our package. And I'm thinking that, here, I need to, and you get more, see, there we go. It's got that big old huge blob of stuff there, but it wasn't coming out very well, so I needed to smush it down. So now I'm going to wipe it all off. I'm probably going to make a mess on my project. My pen has some kind of gump stuck on it. Okay, now let's open this up. I'll set that over there. Okay, now let's try that. Okay, that's better. Are you girls waiting for it to blob everywhere? Because it probably will. Okay, so let's continue on. And I'm just going to do some random dots. See, there it goes. It's kind of like Copic. So you have to watch for that. When you can see the end of your Copic marker getting too damp, and it will make a big old huge blobby thing on your paper. Oh, those are much better dots. See, I got the ink going here again. I think I'm going to redo these. And I think I'm going to do some little bit bigger ones. So let's go ahead and go. And I'm not pushing down on the pen. I'm just using the top of what's on the top of the cap or the ink pen to make some circles. I never try to push down on it because that's how you get more ink on there, or to release more ink, and it makes a huge mess. Oops, that one still went. But you could do some lines. You could also use your colorless blender to remove some of the ink to make some lines or some dots on there. I have crazy dots on my package. Okay, so now we're going to cut it out. So I'm going to hope that you have to, hopefully I don't cut anything off. So we're going to cut this guy out. Let's go ahead and remove this poor little dude. We'll put him over here. Okay, let me see if this is dry. It's not dry yet. Let's go ahead and I'm going to stick it in this piece of paper and smush it down a little bit and make sure it picks up all of the stuff off there that's not, whoops, ready to go. Okay, so now we are going to cut it out. We'll see how that goes. Fussy cutting is not my friend. I know I say that every time. But this little dude did not have a die, so... And since he wasn't very long to color, I figured I would be okay to take the extra little bit to cut him out today rather than color him up beforehand and get him all ready. And then you girls could ask questions and we could chat. Whoops. See, I get too close to the edge. I can never get it right. Luckily, there's not too many small spaces in here. So I've got my little reindeer onesie that we're going to do next week, but don't forget to leave comments down below of something you want to do in the future. I know the following week we're going to do a card kit, but I picked out a Whiff of Joy one that's got a cute little puppy, and they're making cupcakes, so that's going to be, but I have to color it first. It's not ready. But I will get that in the store here in the next couple of days, so you guys can go pick that up if you want to do that. But after that, the week after that, we're going to do some kind of digi. So if you have one in mind or something you'd like to try, make sure to leave me a comment so I can go look it up. Or you can also email the image to me at HeathersHobbieHaven@hotmail.com if you have one that you'd like to email me so I can go look at it. And if I don't have it, I can go buy one. I try to do a digi every other week so that you girls can go pick one up and download it and get it all ready. in case you're unable to go get a card kit, or I know international shipping is outrageous, so I colored his ear outside of the line of his ear there a little bit. I like the straight ones right here. That's my favorite part, the cutting of the straight part. Okay, and so I didn't cut down in here in between his ear and that package because that's too much. I'm not going to do it. We're going to leave him like that. Okay, let's pick some of this stuff up. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, I brought all this stuff in here. So let's move this pile of garbage over here. I have all my stuff for Bible journaling in here. It's just like piled because I've come in here every day and do that for the challenge, and so it's taking up all of my desk. Okay, so I cheated and I put all of this, all this tape on the foam tape on the back because that would take forever. So I doubled it up so there's two pieces on the back of the card here, and I attached the little piece of acetate over the top of the little shaker window. So that's not something we're gonna have to do either. So I did pretty good about, yeah, Linda, I did pretty good about or Maria, about leaving the white on the outside. Sometimes I get a little close, like right here on my little bow. I forgot what it was called. I'm losing it over here. I got a little close, but mostly it's pretty even. I'm okay with it. You could also cut it all the way out right next to the line, and then if I do that, I take a black marker and I go along the edges so that it's all black, not the side. So when you see the side of the paper, it's all black. I do not usually find that the white paint pen picks up the color of the paper. It kind of did a little bit on this red here, but if I go back and I give it a second coat, here, let's try it. So I've let it dry, and then I come back and I'll give it some, oh, for heaven's sakes. You get a big blob. That's what you get when you do give it a second coat. I'll come back and I'll give them a second coat and go over the top of it, and then it will be white. But usually when I use it like for their cheeks or something like that, it never picks that up. It's light enough to just go right over the top, and I don't see it changing colors. But this red's pretty dark. So you just go over it, and then you've got a second coat of white on there. Now it's harder to do because I cut it out. But then it will stay white. Okay, so we're gonna let the little dots dry because I got that huge blob over here now. So we're gonna put all this together. So like I said, I cheated and put all the foam on the back because that's just how I am. So I always check first to make sure my card base is going the direction I want, because I have attached things backwards before or upside down. So then you're going to have to decide with this red piece whether or not you want the scallops to go up or you want the scallops to go down. That's up to you. Or you could use the back. There's some flowers on the back. So I'm going to stick with this. And I just use my handy dandy Tombow tape runner for this, because I can buy the refills for practically nothing from the office supply store. Okay, and then we're going to put this on. Let me see. Oops, it's stuck to my finger. Okay, and then next, I'm going to attach this yellow piece to the white piece, or, well, this piece has stripes on the back, so you're probably not going to want to use that, but you could, because this whole thing's going to be covered up and you're only going to see the edge, but I'm going to use the dots. And there is still a couple of these kits left if you girls haven't picked one up and you want to grab one. And it comes with, I'll show you the sentiment here on the inside here in a second. Let me put this down. So I tried to keep this inside the little stitching that is on the white piece. Okay, so let's see. So this sentiment, I stamped this for you and it's for your kit. So that comes with the sentiment. It's not with this card kit. It is from the Onyx Stamp Company. It's Cool Tag Banner Sentiment Set. But this one stamp sentiment is in there. But your stamp comes with this sentiment that says, "Happy birthday to you. You live in a zoo. You smell like a monkey and look like one too." I thought that was super cute. So that you get a sentiment with your card kit. All right, so now I'm going to attach this. Like so. All right, then next, because I want this piece fits over this and you can just barely see the yellow on the outside of this, what I did is I stuck it like this and I decided where I wanted my my glittery stuff to go, and I kind of eyeballed it. And then I put the glittery stuff in there. So I'm going to use some of these little stars. And these are not Doodlebug sequins. I just stuck them in this empty container. And then I think they're like this company, Sequins, Darcy. So let's see. Let me look. So I'm going to kind of want them to be right here. This is much easier if you get all this stuff out and put it in a little packet. Okay, so I'm going to put a little, it's stuck to my finger. Get off of there. It's only being difficult because you girls are watching. Okay, so we're going to do like that, and then we're going to put some stars out here. And then we're going to put some more of these little clear iridescent sparkles. Whoops, I think that's too many. Let's put some back. But you guys got a little packet of these, so you're going to have to dump them out in a bowl and shake them up, mix them up, and then get off of my finger. Why is my finger so staticky? Okay, so let's try that. I'm going to kind of mush them all up here into the center. Okay, now we're going to take all this stuff off the back. Actually, before I remove all of those, let's take our, I got some anti-static stuff that I use for embossing, and I usually just wipe that kind of in here. Whoops, don't spill the sequins, Heather. Around the edges of this, in case I didn't line up my foam tape perfectly. This will kind of remove the stickiness from it on the inside, and then, you know, we don't have to worry about it sticking, the sequins getting stuck to the edge of the container. Okay, so we're going to remove all this. And this foam tape, I have it, it comes on this giant roll. So I just cut it into strips and then stuck them together. And then cut them into small parts to fit around this little star balloon. Okay, let's mush all our sequins back up. Get up there, little sequins. Okay, so now I'm going to, remember, there's just a little bit, Let me wipe my shaker window off because I got a little bit of that acid or the little stickies, anti-static stuff on the window. So let me get it off of there. We don't want it to look all foggy. So I'm using my shirt. Okay. All right, so now we're going to stick this on here. Give it a good mush. And then let me check this. Whoops. Okay. So this little guy we're going to put over here. So let's give him some tape. Looks like I shook a little bit of paint right here. Let's get rid of that. We don't want to paint our poor little guy white. Okay. And then I kind of have him kind of sitting here on the edge. I kind of lined it up with this little line down here on the bottom of the little window thing. Like so. And then this, I did some popping up. So let me grab the pop dots. And it kind of hangs off the edge, so you don't need to go clear out to the edge with this. Okay, then we're just going to stick this on here. And I kind of made it so that it's kind of comes out to the edge out here. I stuck it down. And then I'm going to use some glue. And in your little packet of sequins, you should have also, the package should have some red and yellow ones in there too. So make sure to pick those out so that you can put them on the front. Whoops. Okay, so let's grab a couple of red ones here. Mine are getting to the bottom, so you get these little red bits. Get off my finger. I think I'll trade. And they are kind of different colors, not by much, but they are, just so you're aware of that, they are a different, kind of different colors. So you may have to pick through them until you find the one you want. Ooh, how about this shiny one? That one's kind of pretty. And how about a yellow? And now I have red dots everywhere. All right, and then I just used some Tombow Mono Multi to attach those. So let's see here. Okay, let's try that. And then I have this little jewel picker. It's a Marvy jewel picker. This thing's like awesome. Okay, so we're going to put these up here. Down there. Didn't I have another red sequence? I thought I did. I guess not. I'm going to have to get another one out. I guess I didn't. Let me grab a red one. So I mean, you get a million of those little dots now because it's coming to the end of the package. And so there's like a bajillion of those little circles from the middle of the sequins in there. Okay, this little guy here is going to need more glue. Whoops. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I'm just having a problem here. Okay, there we go. So we just put your stuff wherever you want them to go, and then, you know, let them dry. And then, oh, I forgot to bring my, oh wait, I think I have, let me see, what do I got? Let me see, I have this little pin here. Let's see if this will work. It's not being very cooperative. Oh, there, I think it works. Okay, so anyway, you could take whatever kind of marker you have and draw a little string. So I'm just going to go, whoops, see in my pins, I use this for Bible journaling, so it's got gunk on it. It doesn't work very well. But like so, draw a little balloon down there, or a little tie that goes down there. And that is our card for today. So don't forget that if you want to do next week's card, to head over and grab this Rudolph onesie from Polka Doodles, and there's a link to this down in the description box. So if you have not, if you want to color, go pick her up and print her out so you can color with me. Also, there are 4 more of these kits left, so if you want to color this, there's still kits for this available, and I put a link down in the description box for that. I really appreciate you shopping with me. Don't forget, if you have a suggestion for a future class, make sure to leave it in the comments below so that I can write it on my list. I want to do stuff that everybody else wants to do too. Otherwise, I hope you girls all had fun coloring today, and I'll see you next Thursday at noon. Bye-bye. Mm-hmm.